How's it going, guys? Here we are with the C2GS Draft League Season 0, Week 6. This week we are going against Potatoast, otherwise known as Churro Man. This week I am 2-2, and my opponent is 1-3. If you look on the right side, you see my opponent has a bit of an unorthodox team. He's got a lot of electric types. The combination of Tapu Koko and Regieleki can be quite devastating. And if you guys might remember, last week I fought Megaladios, and now this week I'm fighting Megaladias. It sucks, but also at the same time, it's good to know that I'm not going to be fighting any more Lotties after this, hopefully. So, my opponent has, so far, every single game, brought Tapu Koko, Grimmsnarl, Megaladios, and Ditto. And I think that's just the way that he preps normally. I think he always brings those four Pokemon, and then the other two slots are like flex slots where he puts in whatever he thinks it works best, basically. Most games that he's played, his main strategy revolved around his Grimmsnarl using Trick to trick a ring target onto a ground type Pokemon. So if you don't know what the ring target does, is it's an item and it basically negates all of your immunities that are granted by types. So if you're ground type, you're no longer immune to electric type attacks. So his idea was he would trick a ring target onto the enemy ground type, and then he would proceed to sweep with Regieleki and Tapu Koko, where they would both carry the move Rising Voltage to, carry off of the electric terrain. And Rising Voltage Regieleki is actually really, really scary. Pyukumuku can also be a threat. I have to make sure that I have specific measures for it, and you'll see what those measures are. And just like before, how last week Megaladios is a big threat, this week Megaladios is also a really big threat, and it can definitely sweep me if I'm not careful. There's also a lot of mind games I have to worry about with Zoroark, and Ditto obviously is something that's really annoying to prep around as it can very easily counter sweep me. So let's get into the team here. Let's see what I came up with. So my first Pokemon is Zeraora. So like I said before, his Grimmsnarl likes to trick a ring target onto the ground type to make it no longer immune to electric type attacks. In this case, that's going to be my Donphan, right? He's going to try to trick a ring target onto Donphan. And if I can predict that, and then I can switch into Zeraora, then that's going to make things really easy. Zeraora is holding the Assault Vest so that when it gets tricked off, it cripples the Grimmsnarl, and of course it also gives me like good special bulk against things like Latias and like Koko and Aleki and stuff like that. And Assault Vested Grimmsnarl can't use any screens, it can't taunt, it can't do much of anything. It's likely to have only one attacking move, which is going to be either Spirit Break or Sucker Punch, most likely. So yeah, and also something to note with Zeraora is because the ring target only negates immunities granted by typing, and Zeraora is immune to electric attack thanks to his Volt Absorb ability, it's Zeraora holding a ring target is still immune to electric attack. So I have two reliable electric immunities. One of them is going to like continue to be immune even if it's given a ring target. So that's going to be totally fine. My original plan for the Zeraora set was actually going to be to give it a ring target so that when it gets tricked off, the Grimmsnarl will still have a ring target. Because Grimmsnarl has two immunities, right? Psychic and Dragon. And I think it would be like kind of useful, a little bit useful for it to no longer have those immunities, even if when it tricks away the ring target. I decided that this was better. I mostly did the ring target just because I thought it'd be funny, truth be told, but Assault Vest is way more utility. It cripples the Grimmsnarl completely if I manage to get that off, and it gives me better survivability versus his special attackers. Plasma Fist, of course, that's my main attacking move. Plasma Fist, I bring it every week. It's really good. I thought about bringing Rising Voltage this week to capitalize off of the terrain. Actually, I'm going to put it on here right now. And I was scared at first of a Ditto counter sweep, but now I don't fear it anymore because I've tailored this set so that it does everything it needs to do, but it also gets walled by Donphan in case of Ditto shenanigans, right? Because if Zeraora is on the field and it's threatening an electric type attack, it's really, really easy for him to just switch in a Ditto to copy the Plasma Fists and absorb the hit. And originally I was really scared of Ditto transforming into Zeraora, but because I've tailored this set so that it has 3 electric attacks and play rough, Donphan walls it off pretty well, so now I feel more comfortable giving it Rising Voltage. Hopefully that doesn't bite me in the butt later on, but the last 2 times I changed a move last minute, I ended up losing, so hopefully that doesn't continue. But yeah, Pleasant Fist is going to be my main attacking move. Play Rough is just a really good coverage move. It does 41 to 49% on a max HP Mega Latias. It one-hit KOs Zoroark, and it does 71 to 84% on Grimmsnarl. I was thinking about giving it Outrage just because that's my strongest move against Latias, and it's like a panic escape button versus it. But I figured that Play Rough had more utility because it would also hit 2 of his Dark-type Pokemon. So yeah, Rising Voltage. This was originally Thunderbolt. It's basically I wanted a special electric type attack because it's like really good damage on Weezing. Um, because if this is like a full physical Zeraora, he kind of walls me. Iron Tail does not enough, to be honest. It's like he can just like burn me and stuff like that. So I figured having a good strong special attack is good. That was my main reasoning for putting Thunderbolt here. But Rising Voltage, I'm pretty sure is way stronger than Plaza Fists when the electric terrain is up. So this is actually probably going to be spamming more often if I am able to. And then Volt Switch lets me pivot out, basically. It's still good damage on Weezing. His only electric immunity is Ditto, which is why I have so many electric type attacks, right? His only electric immunity is Ditto switching in onto an electric attack, taking a Volt Absorb, right? If Ditto is gone, Volt Switch is extremely free, and with the terrain, it becomes extremely powerful. Something to note is that one time he did run Tapu Koko with Telepathy instead of Electric Terrain or Electric Surge, so that basically there wouldn't be any electric terrain on the battlefield because the opponent had 2 extremely powerful electric resists or electric immunities, and also Alolan Raichu to capitalize on electric terrain. Hopefully he gives me the electric terrain. I would be interested to do fun stuff with it, but it's fine if he doesn't. I don't really need it that much. And this speed investment here, it allows me to outspeed his entire unboosted team, barring Regieleki. All right, next is Black Widow. This is going to be my dedicated Pikumuku counter. Zeraora is also an option as far as like an offensive check to Pikumuku, but my opponent can switch into Ditto, which can like limit that, right? This thing is like hand-tailored specifically to counter Pikumuku. The scariest thing that it can do to me is it can like confide me or taunt me on the switch in, right? And if it's using confide, then it's like dropping my special attack, and it's likely not unaware in that case, because if it were unaware, then confide wouldn't be doing anything basically, right? Me being a poison type protects me from toxic, and I can get a sub up on the first turn to block Soak, Mirror Coat, Memento, or Pain Split. And none of those moves are going to do much to me when I have a substitute up. Usually he likes to click block on the first turn with Pikumuku. I ran some tests, and it turns out that Pain Split actually completely fails if it's used against a substitute, right? Mirror Coat still works, but it'll just take down the substitute, I'm pretty sure. Bide can be a little bit scary, but as long as we have a sub up and protect, we're fine. I noticed that it can learn Spite, which can be a little bit of an issue as it bypasses substitute. If I run out of PP, the Pikumuku does become pretty annoying, so I guess he does have a potential win con there. And Hidden Power Steel is going to be my secondary attack. This is basically makes me not walled by Galarian Weezing anymore. He might think that like I'm only carrying grass moves, so he might think that Galarian Weezing might be a safe switch in, and Hidden Power Steel is basically meant to deny that. He could theoretically not switch into Weezing because he could be fearing Sludge Bomb or something like that, but if he's Assault Vest, he might go for it. This has enough speed to outspeed any, like a jolly Galarian Weezing, while still allowing me to be modest. I chose Hidden Power Steel over Hidden Power Psychic, even though they both hit Weezing super effectively, because Steel is super effective against Aerodactyl, Ice Cube, Grimmsnarl, and Weezing, and my opponent has 2 Dark types which are immune to Hidden Power Psychic, in Zoroark and Grimmsnarl. Giga Drain does 50 to 60% to a max special defense Pikumuku, which is an 82% chance to 2-hit KO after leftovers. I considered running Magical Leaf as a secondary move instead of Giga Drain. I wanted Giga Drain for like the healing utility, but I could also have like Magical Leaf because it's a Technician. Ooh, this is supposed to be Technician. That was really close. That was supposed to be Technician. But yeah, this is supposed to be Magical Leaf as a secondary move. It becomes stronger with Technician, and it does like 60 to 71%. I decided to like the recovery more. Magical Leaf could be better though because it has twice the PP. but I think Giga Drain is better overall with the healing. I could replace Hidden Power Steel with it, but I think I like this set right now as it is. Next up is Slowbro, and to be honest, I didn't think this was going to come at first because of like the abundance of electric types and dark types. But this thing, with its incredibly high defense stat, is able to take on the likes of things like Ice Cube, Zangoose, and Aerodactyl relatively easily. Now those things have rarely showed up, but if they do, I still want to make sure that I have defensive measures against them, right? So here's some calcs here. An Adamant toxic boosted Zangoose Facade does 41 to 48% to Mega Slowbro. Exodus is less than that. Knockoff is even less than that still because I have Slowbro Knight, which can't be knocked off. So the best that an Adamant toxic boosted Zangoose can do is less than half with Facade, right? A +6 Jolly Ice Cube Icicle Crash does 23 to 28%. And he's pretty likely to run Jolly because in his no ice form, he wants to be able to outrun things like Noivern. And Head Smash, which you actually can learn Head Smash, which is pretty scary. It does 56 to 66%. But if it's belly drummed and is using Head Smash, that's almost a KO because in and of itself, unless it's like Citrus Berry or something like that, because Head Smash does 37 to 44% damage in recoil to itself. Headbutt does around 26 to 30%, and flinches can be kind of scary, but for the most part, we take this on relatively well, especially if it's lacking Head Smash. An Adamant Choice Band Aerodactyl Crunch does 29 to 35, and he's pretty likely to run Jolly for the same reason as Ice Cube, because they have the exact same speed tier. Stone Edge does 27 to 32%, but because Mega Slowbro has Shell Armor, it means that we're immune to critical hits. This is also pretty decent against Galarian Weezing, especially with Psychic. This was originally meant to have Flamethrower as its second move as a way of hitting Ice Cube, but I realized it only hit Ice Cube, and I feel like having a stab and a better way to hit Weezing is probably better overall. It does 77 to 91% to a physically defensive Weezing. I almost didn't bring Psychic. The main reason for that was because of like all the dark types, so I figured that Flamethrower would probably be a better secondary move. But yeah, we have Scald, of course. Getting a burn on things is really nice. It does over half to Zangoose. It's almost a 50% chance to Oko Aerodactyl from full. It 2-hit KOs an uninvested Regieleki. It's usually a 2-hit KO on an uninvested Tapu Koko. It 2-hit KOs Zoroark. And it's a 3-hit KO on Galarian Weezing, which is pretty good. Toxic is mostly used to cripple the Latias. This was originally Thunder Wave, meant to like slow down the likes of like Latias, Ice Cube, Aerodactyl, stuff like that. But I was actually during one of my test battles, I was actually getting completely destroyed by a fully physically defensive Calm Mind Latias. So I figured that Toxic is actually better to put on this because it's going to put it on a timer. Yeah, it's likely going to have Roost, but I can use those Roost turns as opportunities to switch out into advantageous things. And it's still taking like very big residual damage every turn, right? So overall, I think Toxic is much more effective against handling the Latias. I originally had Body Press because it was able to one-shot the Zangoose, but this is much better utility, especially since he might not even bring the Zangoose, right? And this Slowbro set, it also walls my own Melmetal and my own Kangaskhan, which is really cool. So if Ditto turns into either of these, I can just go free Slowbro, completely wall them. So yeah, next is Iron Man, the Melmetal, and this is an Assault Vest Melmetal. This is going to be my main defensive check to Mega Latias. Truth be, I should have probably done this to the Latios last week, but oh well, can't change it. This thing can kind of take on Weezing, but not really. Flamethrower doesn't do a lot, but the burn chance is scary. And if it has Will-O-Wisp, then that's also like if it's like an assault vested Weezing or something, this could probably take it on, barring a Flamethrower burn. But if it reveals Black Sludge, then it likely has Will-O-Wisp, and I really don't want to be switching this into that. So yeah, we have enough special defense investment to live 2+2 Aura Spheres from Mega Latias, assuming it's a max HP, max speed. Then the remaining EVs go into attack, which lets us always 2-hit KO the same Mega Latias with double Iron Bash. So this thing is like basically meant to handle the Latias, right? The Latias needs to be at +4 with Calm Minds in order to 2-hit KO me with Stored Power. Double Iron Bash is like really effective against most of his team. It 2-hit KOs even a max HP Regieleki. around half of the rolls do over half to an uninvested Tapu Koko. This obviously obliterates Aerodactyl, Ice Q, even with its Ice Face, Zoroark, Zangoose. This almost one-hit KOs Grimmsnarl, a max HP Grimmsnarl through Reflect, which is pretty crazy. And it rarely OHKOs a fully defensive Weezing. So even if he has like a little bit of special defense investment, this thing is going to be pretty effective against it, right? Earthquake hits the electrics. It almost always OHKOs a max HP Regieleki, and it is almost a one-hit KO on an uninvested Tapu Koko. It also 2-hit KOs Ditto transformed into Melmetal, and his Earthquake is a 3-hit KO in return. Brick Break is mostly for utility to disrupt Grimmsnarl's screens. This thing can switch into Grimmsnarl pretty easily if it's lacking like superpower or something like that. I don't think it's going to have superpower, but like just in case it did, that's like the scariest thing it can hit me with, I think. But yeah, Brick Break, it'll destroy the screens. It does a decent amount to Grimmsnarl, and it also, during test battles, my opponent, when it is Melmetal versus Grimmsnarl, my opponent would switch in Ditto, presumably to absorb the Double Iron Bash, and then I would end up hitting them with a Brick Break instead, and it would do over half to them and destroy the screens, right? And his Brick Break doesn't do that much to me in return, because Ditto doesn't copy the HP stat. Self-Destruct is also a utility move. It's basically meant to be like a nuke and a pivot at the same time. So if Melmetal has done his job, basically, he can get off a big boom, and then he can switch in something else to immediately threaten what comes in next, right? I didn't really have anything else to put there, so I figured why not put Self-Destruct. I honestly didn't even know that I could learn it at first, but this set also takes on a Roserade decently well if I need to do that. I just have to be careful with, like, because it could potentially, like, PP stall me and protect with, like, Substitute and Protect. I can use, like, Earthquake to, like, stagger the Double Iron Bashes, because Double Iron Bash only has 8 PP, right? So that's, like, pretty threatening if it could, like, attempt to PP stall me. But it's only really able to PP stall me if it's a non-Scarf Ditto, right? So I don't think there's that much to worry about there. Next is Kangaskhan's debut. She's finally off the bench. So the main reason why I brought this is because my opponent has only one normal resist, and that's Aerodactyl. Nothing else resists it. Except for, like, Ditto into Melmetal, right? My opponent's team is also really fast, so unfortunately, I had to bring a Choice Scarf. I really wanted to bring Silk Scarf, but I think I had to bring Choice Scarf. 192 speed lets me outspeed everything except for Regieleki, and I get to keep my Adamant Nature, which is really good. Obviously, Return is like a really strong stab move. Because this is National Dex, we're able to use Return. It's almost a one-hit KO on Regieleki, no Ice Face, Ice Q, Zangoose, and Ditto. Ditto's Return does 48 to 57% back to me, so pretty good there. It's a 2-hit KO on Tapu Koko and Grimmsnarl, and it's rarely a one-hit KO on Zoroark. Earthquake mostly hits the electric types. It OHKOs max HP Regieleki on half of all rolls, and if it's no HP investment at all, it's a guaranteed OHKO. It's almost a no-KO on Tapu Koko. Ice Punch is a coverage move to hit Aerodactyl. It 2-hit KOs it. Aqua Tail is a stronger move, but because Ice Punch is more accurate and hits Latias also, I decided to go with Ice Punch instead. It hits Latias for about the same amount of damage as Return does, but I think the reduced miss chance and the fact that it's like still effective, and it even has a freeze chance, right? So I think Ice Punch is like better overall, like utility wise. And then Outrage is a nuke option if Latias starts to get brazy. We deal over half to it, assuming it's max HP, max speed. I could go with Sucker Punch and like a non-Scarf set, but that can be really sketchy because he could also just Roost or Calm Mind to block the Sucker Punch, and then that just puts me in a much worse position, right? This set is walled by Galarian Weezing, but Iron Tail is our best possible way to hit it, and it does a little over a third, and Return does 28 to 33%. Which is still not bad, because it's still good chip, and it has limited recovery, just Black Sludge. And if it's Assault Vest, then that damage is permanent, right? So, chip goes a long way, so I'm comfortable with not bringing Iron Tail. I don't really like running inaccurate moves anyway, so I think this is fine. And then last we have Donphan. I was originally not going to bring this just because of like the ring target memes, but I think just having 2 electric immunities is like really important to the team, right? So like I said before, the Grimmsnarl is probably going to want to trick its ring target if it's able to, and we're going to try to block that by going into Zero Aura. Even Roserade works too, because it'll be holding a Black Sludge and then it'll be taking damage every turn, so that works too. So honestly, anything Nothing really wants to take a trick. Not like Grimmsnarl doesn't want to take any of these items except for Donphans, really. Like any of these, like tricking on any of these would be pretty bad for the Grimmsnarl. Vision probably the least bad because the move will just fail. Iron Man is the same thing as Thor. They're both Assault Vest, and then Choice Scarfing a Grimmsnarl is also probably bad for it, but less bad than the others, right? So overall, like this is the one thing I don't want to get tricked, but that was already the case in the beginning. So and there's not much I can do to change that. Obviously, we have Earthquake. It obliterates Tapu Koko and Regieleki. But the one thing is I have to fear Grass Knot on Tapu Koko, which is the main reason for our special defense EVs, right? It also one-shots a Ditto transformed into Zeraora. Knockoff is good utility, and it does a little bit of damage on Latias, especially before it Mega Evolves, because it doesn't get a defense boost yet. Gets rid of Weezing's Black Sludge or Assault Vest too, which would be really nice. Ice Shard is a good priority move. It's not really necessary, but it's nice to have. It does around 15 to 19% to a max HP Mega Latias. And then Stealth Rock is good because I think rocks are pretty good here. He doesn't have any... He doesn't bring removal, usually. Well, sometimes it brings Defog on Tapu Koko, but it's not that common. He rarely, if ever, brings hazards, right? So it's not a big deal if he does, because like that's why I don't have any removal on my team, because I don't have anything that's weak to rock. Sure, things don't really want to switch into it, but I don't have anything that's weak to it, so I don't think it's very pressing to bring hazard removal if he never brings hazards in the first place. So yeah, like I said, we're max special defense EVs. Some calcs against his electrics. A timid Tapu Koko Grass Knot does 45 to 53%. A jolly Tapu Koko Brave Bird does 26 to 31%. Choice Band Regieleki Explosion does 82 to 97%, which is like, that's a lot of damage, of course. It's Choice Banded Explosion, but I'm expecting a special set anyway. But it's still something to keep an eye out for, right? And a Life Orb Regieleki Hyper Beam does 49 to 58. So I think we're going to be walling the electrics pretty well. The scariest thing is Koko Grass Knot. But yeah, that's pretty much the team. He doesn't have that many like ways of taking out Melmetal with an Assault Vest on. Overall, I feel pretty good about this team. I think it's good, pretty solid team. So yeah, that's about it. See you guys tomorrow for the battle.